bien mieux qu'être mal accompagné.
Is a dish best served cold. That's what The Godfather says, and that's what Kill Bill says. But for me, it is justice is a dish best served cold. And the justice we are speaking of right now is towards Bill Clinton and his ties with Jeffrey Epstein, and the fact that this man is sitting and lying under oath through his teeth every single time he opens his mouth. Now, you may be asking yourself, how do we know what Michelle is talking about? Like, is there proof of the things that she's saying? Well, I'm glad you asked this because yes, there is. And I'd like to show you some videos of Bill Clinton in his deposition under oath. And then I would like to give you the facts calmly, coldly, I guess would be the right word, dish best served cold. So we're going to be as calm and collected as possible, or at least we'll try, while I point out to you exactly where Bill Clinton is full of, say it with me, sugar honey iced tea. So the first one I want you guys to see is the video that literally has taken the internet by storm today with Bill Clinton and this weird perverse smile on his face during this deposition while looking over some papers in front of him. Now I'm going to show it to you guys, and you're probably going to say, I wish we knew what was in that paper, what picture he was looking at. Well, I have the answer for you, but first, you need to take a look at Bill Clinton here. Now remember, this is the Epstein deposition. Epstein, the guy with underage girls, look at him. His attorney takes it from him. He is smiling while looking at this picture. He is extremely happy about this. And his lawyer's going, no, God, Bill, no, trying to take it from him. He is fighting her basically to hold on to this paper.
Mr. President, we have about 5 minutes.
You see his face.
His first hour. So
and then he looks at his watch. Side note.
Questions related to
hold on.
The crimes committed by Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell.
Okay, so what's crazy to me is you saw Bill Clinton looking at these pages, you saw him smiling, you saw his lawyer over there going, I'm not getting paid enough for this right now because he is incriminating himself with every little face that he makes while looking at this. Remember, he is looking at things that are tying him to a pedophile, to a possible rapist, minus the G, and he is smiling like he just got the best present on Christmas, right? So I was very curious, and I did the whole zoom in and pause and try to blow up the picture to figure out exactly what it was, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it was, because it's important that you know what he was looking at. And what he was looking at is the photo in that little clip of video is looking at the printed photograph of himself in a hot tub with another person whose face is redacted for privacy reasons. You've seen the pictures, I've seen the pictures, and it's him and some female in a hot tub, right? There's numerous pictures going around, but the one specific one, good old Billy Boy's leaned back, just chilling in a hot tub, and there's the silhouette of a female right about here, face blurred out. We don't know what's happening underneath that water. I have no idea. You have no idea. We all have guesses, though, but without seeing the female's face, we don't know how old she is. We have no idea if she's underage, if she's of age, if she could be older than Bill at the time. We have no idea. But the image is strictly, it's straight from Jeffrey Epstein files through the Department of Justice, right? And in this clip, Clinton is flipping through a stack of documents and photos during his deposition testimony before the House Oversight Committee regarding his ties to Epstein. He pauses on this particular hot tub photo, leans in, smiles, chuckles slightly, nods, and examines it for several seconds, appearing nostalgic or amused. And my brain personally went, what the? You fill in the blank there. Y'all know what the F stands for. Bill, did you forget where you are? Has the dementia gone into high gear? Do you not know cameras are on you? People are watching you? What's also crazy to me is that he looked down at his watch. When the person speaking was like, hey, we got about 5 minutes left, whatever, he looked down at his watch, and I realized it's an Apple Watch, right? Apple Watch. And it was interesting to me because Apple Watches, they have data connected to them, and people could be sending him stuff all day long. Whereas you're not supposed to have phones in there, no pictures, no anything. You're not supposed to have any of those kind of things. So the fact that he was allowed to wear an Apple Watch in there, which can record, which can speak, which can text things, Hillary can text things. The watch could be listening. It could have been on a phone call the entire time where everybody was getting to listen to things. It's very interesting they let that Apple Watch through. And I don't know if it was an oversight by the Oversight Committee. And yes, I hear the irony there or what, but I don't think that should have been allowed on Billy Boy's wrist. So we've seen that little clip. We saw Bill, smiling nostalgically at the picture of him and some rando chick in a hot tub. But what I would really like to point out to people is this little 10-second clip right here. And I'm gonna play you the clip, and then I'm going to prove to you once again that Billy Boy is lying through his teeth. So 10 seconds, let's go ahead and pull this up here so you guys can hear it. And I think you're gonna love this one. This one's probably my favorite out of all of them. And there's just so many to choose from lately, but listen.
First question I have for you, Mr. President. Have you ever lied in a deposition?
No.
Have you ever lied while under oath?
No.
First question I have for you, Mr. President.
He said no both times. Currently, this question is being asked to him while he is in a deposition, okay, number one, and while he is under oath, number two. And he said, no, he's never lied in a deposition, and no, he's never lied under oath. I'm not sure if Billy Boy has forgotten, I don't know, Monica Lewinsky, and I did not have sexual relations with that woman, because I sure as Sugar Honey Iced Tea didn't forget it. I know y'all didn't forget it. Nope. So when Bill Clinton says he's never lied under oath, I had to say, well, has he lied under oath? Yes, Bill Clinton did lie under oath about his relationship with Monica Lewinsky, and this is according to the House of Representatives, which impeached him on related charges and widely accepted historical accounts, okay? In January 1998, during a sworn deposition in the Paula Jones civil sexual harassment lawsuit, Clinton was asked under oath if he had ever had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky, which is, you know who she is. We all know, blue dress, the same one that Billy Boy is wearing in the picture, the painting that is in Jeffrey Epstein's New York home, I believe it was, okay? He denied it, stating that he had never had sexual relations with her. Now, the term sexual relations was defined narrowly in that deposition, so they're trying to give him leeway, right? But it means involving contact with certain body parts with intent to arouse or gratify. But later, evidence showed Clinton engaged in oral sex and other intimate contact with Lewinsky that fell within that definition, according to independent counsel Kenneth Starr's conclusions. So, in August of 1998, Clinton testified under oath before a federal grand jury investigating potential perjury and obstruction of justice tied to the Jones case. He initially maintained denials, but admitted to an inappropriate intimate relationship. However, he was accused of providing perjurious, which is false, obviously, testimony about the nature and details of that relationship, including prior statements, which again, perjury is lying under oath, which he seems to be getting really good at, right? Physical evidence, y'all know what I'm talking about, that skeet on the blue dress, was confirmed by DNA samples that it was Clinton's. That was his. It's not like some other rando dude, like, I don't know, Epstein came in and decided to shoot off on the dress. That was Billy Boy all day long. And Lewinsky's own grand jury testimony after immunity established that sexual contact had indeed occurred. The Starr report concluded Clinton committed perjury in both the Jones deposition and the grand jury testimony by lying about the relationship. The House impeached Clinton in December of 1998 on two articles. One, perjury related again to the grand jury testimony, and obstruction of justice. The Senate acquitted him in 1999. Clinton later admitted misleading the public and his family, but argued his earlier statements were technically defensible based on narrow interpretations of terms like sexual relations or is. Remember, I played you that little clip? He goes, it depends on what the definition of is. And I was like, you're skeezy. Right there is the definition of skeezy. Now, in a 2004 interview, Clinton acknowledged regretting the lies, but believed admitting the truth earlier could have cost him the presidency. So, please hold, I need a sip of this coffee. What Billy Boy is saying is, he purposefully lied because he was worried about what it would do to his presidency. Whereas now, while giving these depositions, he's purposely lying because he's worried about what it's going to do to his life, like his whole ass best life, because you know that jail at almost 80 years old is probably not the most comfortable place, and not how you want to spend your final years of life on earth, is sitting on a hard cot behind jail doors or whatever they're called. Oh, Billy boy. But wait, there's more, and it gets worse or better depending on how you look at these things. So hold on. We have just established that Bill Clinton does indeed lie under oath, and he did indeed lie under oath right then in the deposition on February 27th, 2026, okay? But wait, there's more. So not only that, you have Nancy Mace posted, oh, this I think this one might actually be my favorite, which again, I know sounds weird, and the level of excitement that I bring to this is a little concerning even for myself. But there's something about catching somebody lying through their effing teeth and being able to prove it that for some reason I'm just like giddy about. So Nancy Mace posted, one of the places I believe President Clinton may have perjured himself. While I was deposing President Clinton, I asked why Epstein would say Bill liked them young, okay? First, Clinton tried to say he doesn't like them underage, which was not the question. Second, he said the statements he liked them young was false. Now, I want you to listen to the rest of this, and then I would like to once again prove to you that this man has lied for the at least third time under oath in the span of the 11 minutes that we've been doing this video. All right, you ready? Let's take a listen, ladies and gents.
In the Epstein cases, that Epstein said, you quote, like them young. Why would Epstein say that about you? Are you asking his opinion? You're asking him that?
I would also like to point out that every time the lawyer steps in, it's because she knows that this is something that's going to completely destroy his credibility and everything else. Because the last time that they stepped in was the same kind of situation where he was asked a question and clearly his answer was going to be awful for him and Hillary, no matter how he answered. So his lawyers step in and try to either turn the question around or give Billy Boy here time to get his half a brain cell that's left to work correctly, to try to answer the question correctly. Unfortunately, as you're about to see here, this whole interjection by the lady, it didn't help Billy Boy at all. It might have actually made it just a hint worse, but I'll let you listen for yourselves.
Think about why Mr. Epstein would say something about it. Why would Epstein say that? So she's asking you to try to be in Mr. Epstein's mind and guess at what Mr. Epstein would have thought about. So Clinton likes them young, referring to girls.
First of all, that's not true.
What's not true?
That I have any interest in underage.
I didn't say underage, I said young.
But it's still not true.
Is an intern young?
Yes.
Is an intern young? And he said yes, after just saying that he does not have any interest in young girls. Well, technically he said underage girls. And then Nancy Mace, corrected him. I didn't say underage, I said young. And he said, no young girls. So he has no interest in young girls, but an intern is a young girl. So then I was curious, I was really curious, was Monica Lewinsky an intern? And he says, yes, Monica Lewinsky was a White House intern. Well, Nancy Mace just asked him if his interns were young, and he said yes, but then he said he doesn't have interest in young girls. But then there was the impeachment because he had sexual relations with the young intern. Oh, it's enough to make your head spin. Obviously, Bill has forgotten all of the lies he has told in his 79 years on this earth, and they are all starting to catch up to him. And I think it's very, very interesting that the more we go, the worse it gets for him, which I love. I know you love. He and his lawyers are probably not too happy about it right now. Okay, But wait,
It gets worse.
there's more, because there's always more. So we have established that he lies under oath.
Lied
We have
twice.
established that he does like young girls because of the intern. We have also established that he really likes the picture of him and the girl in the hot tub because it brought back nostalgic memories based off of everything his face did and the fact that he literally tried to rip those papers out of his lawyer's hand so he could look at it some more. And then you know how he licked his finger to like turn the page, or did he lick it to like? I'm just saying, there's a lot going on there, and I think that's should be noted. Now, this other one here, this brings up the whole, what is her name? Anthony Weiner, Anthony Weiner, and Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton's aide, Huma Abedin, or however you're supposed to say her name, that they were so incredibly close, like so incredibly close, almost like, you know, so incredibly close. But according to, you know, Grok or whoever, there was no extra closeness of said relationship. It's just a rumor. But anyway, there's this question that was asked, and I'd like you to notice that Billy Boy up on top, and then notice Billy Boy down underneath, and also notice Jeffrey Epstein in the background, and also notice who's sitting on this plane as well.
When you say that,
Have you flown on the Lolita Express with Jeffrey?
I don't know what that is.
Have you flown on Jeffrey Epstein's plane?
He doesn't know what Lolita Express is?
With
Okay.
Ask and answer. You can answer again.
I don't remember, but I have found she's been sort of a part of our family for a very long time. So when I went to the Middle East, which I don't think I ever took a plane ride with Jeffrey Epstein, but she would typically go when I did.
So have you traveled with both of them together?
Excuse me. Both of whom, Congressman?
Of course. Have you traveled with Jeffrey Epstein and Huma Abedin together?
I do not know.
Okay, thank you.
I do not know. Now, my question is, why would Huma Abedin, and again, I am new to politics. Over the last year or so, I've been getting more into it, but it's been more about the current politicians in this time frame, not the Bill Clintons, the Al Gores, the Bob Doles, the whoever else name I can think of right now from back in the day, the George Bushes even, although 9/11, anyway, so I don't know a whole lot of these names and things that are going on, but from what I have seen and what I have read, Huma Abedin was basically the right-hand woman of Hillary Clinton. So why was she on planes with Bill when Bill would go to the Middle East? He didn't mention that, you know, Hillary was on the plane with him. He didn't say that. He said Huma would be on a plane with him when he was going to places like the Middle East. But for what? If she was doing stuff for Hillary, why was she on a plane with you? For those of you who may have better knowledge of that, please inform me and help me elevate my knowledge on these things. I appreciate y'all immensely for everything you leave in the comment section, because all it does is help me understand like the bigger picture of everything that's gone on through my lifetime politics wise, and I love y'all immensely for it. So, you know, you have that whole thing of him saying he doesn't remember, but there's clearly a picture there. And, you know, you could play devil's advocate here, or Clinton advocate, because I feel like devil and Clinton are basically synonymous, and say, you know, after this amount of time and however many plane rides he went on, it's possible he doesn't remember a lot of this stuff. That's asking a lot. But given the fact that you're sitting your happy ass in a deposition, and happy because we saw him smiling at that picture, you would think that you would have tried to, I don't know, you know, recall every single second humanly possible about what you have or have not done in regards to Jeffrey Epstein or his airplane or his island or anybody else that could have been on that plane with you. You would have gone through all of the files that you have access to and everything else to try to figure out what's going on. And it just seems like maybe they just decided to sleep it out. They decided to sleep through it and just, you know, wing it when they got to the deposition based off of Billy Boy's answers here and the way his lawyers are like, ah, golly, he's about to F it all up again. Interrupt the question, try to steer him correctly. Don't let him touch papers anymore, obviously. Don't let him smile. Can we put tape over his mouth so he just can't do anything? It's the safest bet for him. But they can't do that, obviously. So you have that one, okay? But wait, there's more, because there's always more. It turns out that, so you know how in Illinois you got Governor J.B. Pritzker, Okay, and J.B. Pritzker is just a fat slob of a man. Like he is just a very, very unattractive human. He reminds me of the guy who fell face first into his spaghetti, I think, in the movie Seven, which weirdly had Kevin Spacey in it, which was also on Jeffrey Epstein's planes and was also, shunned from Hollywood for touching little boys, allegedly, and things like that. But in that movie, it was I don't think it was Gluttony. Was it Glutton that killed the guy with his face in the SpaghettiOs or the spaghetti? Every time I see that movie or I see J.B. Pritzker, I think that. Anytime I see the original Batman with the penguin in it, I think of J.B. Pritzker. It's like all three of them are one and the same to me. Well, J.B. Pritzker's brother, cousin, uncle, somebody in J.B. Pritzker's family just stepped down as CEO of Hyatt because of his connections to Jeffrey Epstein, which you're thinking to yourself, man, that's crazy because, that person's over Hyatt, hotels where you could just take underage or young girls or people against their will because you have somebody who can just slip you keys and give you whole buildings to yourself and whatever country you happen to be in, because Hyatt is literally everywhere around the world, not just in the United States, and probably near a lot of airports that Lolita Express could potentially fly into. But anyway, I would like to now play you this little section here, which I found very, very interesting, given the fact that once again the CEO of Hyatt has just stepped down.
Sorry.
This one takes a second, so it's fine.
With Jeffrey Epstein.
And I don't know who's talking.
He took 26 flights on planes because of Jeffrey Epstein. Was he on every flight you were on? Was he on every flight I was on? That's a good question.
That's a good question.
If you know the flight.
He's like, how do I answer this?
There'll be a record of it, but I think he was, or certainly on most.
You think he was? Well, that's okay. Was Ghislaine Maxwell on every flight you were on, as far as you remember?
The same answer. I think she was, but there'll be a record of it.
Okay. When you took these flights, you're saying a lot of them on behalf of your foundation, your charitable work, correct?
Yes.
Who did you normally bring on these flights? I assume
It's a good question.
employees of the foundation, whatever.
I brought
Cover your mouth, bro. Anyway.
people who work with me, especially people who would have to follow up on the fundraising, or people who were involved in my AIDS work.
Okay.
I bought people who.
It's like I never go anywhere alone. You never went anywhere alone.
What? No.
You never go anywhere alone.
I had the Secret Service with me, and then on occasion, I had people who had volunteered to help us and wanted to see what we were doing. For example, I think it was on one of these trips, I think, that I had my first trip for the man who's now the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, and his wife. They helped me get started.
Helped you get started what? Like, I'm so confused. Helped you get started what? So you're saying that you took 20 however many flights on Lolita Express, Epstein's plane, that Epstein and Maxwell were on every flight with you, is what you're saying. But then you would always have other people with you too, because it's not a party with just 3 of you. So you would take other people and your Secret Service, which also we need to be talking to Secret Service if they're flying around on the Great Plane and not saying anything. That needs to come into question. But at the end, and he says, and then that one time I think, bro, you know exactly what you're about to say. And then I think he realized halfway through that maybe he should not say this. And then he was like, well, we've already gone this far. Might as well throw his name out there too. I already, his brother, cousin, I don't know who it was, the CEO who stepped down. And so he goes, J.B. Pritzker and his wife helped me get started. In what? Using the hotels for your devious things that you were doing? Is that what they helped you get started in? Like, what did they help you get started in? I have questions there which aren't answered right here, but I thought that was interesting to share with you guys. Now, another thing that's a little off topic is that it turns out that Hillary Clinton's team demanded beauty lighting and custom background for the Epstein deposition, which is why she was so incredibly pissy when that first photo of her was leaked, because I don't think the lighting was ready and maybe the background wasn't set up, and she looked, much more unfiltered than she looks here. So that might have been why she had that whole screaming rage match and then, threatened to leave and whatever else. But on top of that, you now have the House Oversight Committee, the chair, James Comer, is requesting that Bill Gates testify in a sworn deposition about his relationship with Epstein. Now, Bill Gates, the one who somehow has his hands in literally everything, whether it's our medicine, our food, our money, somehow hand in everything. Not one single college degree under his belt, not one single certification in any of these things under his belt, but he reads some magazines, so suddenly he should have a say in lab-grown meats and, Pfizer vaccines and Moderna and all these other things. But now they're like, hey, listen, Mr. Gates, we need to talk to you, especially since you have said that, yes, you have admitted that some of the allegations, it's not really an allegation if you admit that it's true, it's a positive, it's a fact. Some of these facts are true, that he did cheat on his wife with multiple Russian women. I like how they use the word women here when previously it was Russian girls, but now they're like, all right, we got to be careful with Bill Gates because he does have his hand in all kinds of things, bioweapony and stuff like that. So let's not piss him off too much. Okay, so we'll call them women, although according to Bill Clinton, they could still be young because interns are young and he doesn't like them young, right? But it says here that they are asking to speak to him, and there's numerous others. Catherine Rumier, I don't know how to say her name, Leon Black, Leslie Groff, Sarah Kellen, Ted Waite, Doug Band, and it turns out that Howard Lutnick has just been like, hey, I'll come in and give a deposition. I'll come do it on my own. So he's thrown his name into the ring of depositions without being asked for it. So he's being praised for saying he's going to come in there and do that ahead of time. So there's that. But wait, there's more. And I want to give you just a little bit more information that I decided to try to find out. Because again, I'm trying to learn and understand exactly what's going on. So according to Bill Clinton, he said that he was never on Jeffrey Epstein's plane while he was president. Now, Jeffrey Epstein went to the White House over 17 times, and they also said, or Hillary herself said, that she had never met Ghislaine, or I can still like to call her Ghislaine because that feels accurate, Maxwell, and that she doesn't remember ever meeting Jeffrey Epstein. Like, she's never met any of them. Oh wait, no. She did say she met Maxwell a couple of times, like in passing at stuff, but then suddenly she's at her daughter's wedding, whatever. But she said she's never met Jeffrey Epstein, none of these things. Jeffrey Epstein just happened to go to the White House 17 times, and I guess Hillary was out doing things with Huma or whatever and never got to see him. But according to this, Bill Clinton's first flight on Jeffrey Epstein's plane did not occur during his presidency. So there's at least one truth that has been told so far by President Bill Clinton. One says Clinton served as president, y'all know, January 93 till January 20th, 2001. And it says all documented flights on Epstein's private jet, often called the Lolita Express, took place after he left office, starting in 2002, okay? Now, you also have to remember that Bill Clinton said that he wasn't close with Epstein. He doesn't really know Epstein, none of these things. Then why did you start getting on his plane and flying all over the world with him? If he's on the flight every single time you've been on there, why are you flying all over the place if you don't really know him like that? I have questions. But anyway, it says reliable sources, including flight logs released in court documents and statements from Clinton's spokesperson, show his trips on the plane occurred between February 2002 and November 2003. These were primarily for Clinton Foundation-related humanitarian work, such as trips to Africa, one of them in 2002 with Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker. And then he also went to Asia, Europe, and other locations. Chris Tucker actually has a stand-up comedy sketch kind of thing talking about the trip to Africa with Kevin Spacey, with Bill Clinton. He does a really good Bill Clinton impersonation. Side note, I can't use that. That shit's copyrighted, all, left, right, up, down. I can't put it on here. You guys will just have to go Google Chris Tucker, Bill Clinton stand-up comedy, and it'll come up. And he basically talked about how Bill Clinton wanted him to go to his room and do all these different things. And it's very damning in my personal opinion. So make sure you guys go check that out. And it says here the earliest flight involving Clinton was on February 9th, 2002, Miami to Westchester, New York. And then a lot of things confirmed, flights began post-presidency and whatever else. But 17 logged visits in the 1990s to the White House of Epstein. And so then I asked, I'm like, why did Epstein visit the White House 17 times? Out of curiosity. He went 17 times on 14 different days. So a couple of those days he went back more than once. And they said that it was between 93 and 95, okay? 93 and 95. So you're gonna tell me that from 93 to 95, Jeffrey Epstein went to the White House. And then from 95 until 2002, there was no communication between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton. It just stopped after he stopped going to the White House, and then suddenly in 2002 it ramped back up because Bill Clinton wanted to use the plane, because Bill Clinton himself is the one saying that he wasn't close to Jeffrey like that. He didn't know Jeffrey like that until like after he was, the presidency was over. I find that very convenient or whatnot. But here's the part that gets me, because we talked about the fact that Hillary Clinton did meet Jeffrey Epstein. Hillary Clinton did meet Ghislaine Maxwell all at the same time at some charity dinner thing. But according to everything that I've been able to find, it does not show if Maxwell went with Epstein to the White House 17 times, but it also does not say she didn't. I cannot get a definitive answer from any source that I look at if she was there with him or not. Because my whole thought process was, you're going to tell me that they're together on the plane every single time, but only Jeffrey went to the White House, or that Hillary never met Epstein, even though he was at the White House 17 times. She never had anything to do with any of those flights that Bill was on. And then again, why would Bill be on the flights with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and then the Huma chick and Hillary not be there? There's a lot of stuff here that does not add up, because the last time I checked, 2 + 2 still equals 4. As often as a Democrat will try to, convince you otherwise, that is how math works. And a lot of things do not add up. Now, the last one I want to show you is this one here. And I think this one is very interesting to me. And this is why I looked up how often Jeffrey Epstein had been at the White House and stuff like that. Now, just take a small listen here.
Today and for your years of service to our country. I want to start from the beginning. When did you first meet Jeffrey Epstein?
Thinking real hard. Real hard.
Well, I will try in this testimony, and I will point it out when I'm aware there's a picture or something that's predates it. There's a picture that shows him shaking hands in the White House Historical Association reception. That was in 1993, but I'm not aware of that. I first remember meeting him when I got on his airplane to take the first trip with my foundation in, I think, 2002. Whatever it was.
I believe nothing that man says. You met him in 1993. He came to the White House 17 times in 2 years. You have pictures shaking his hand. Your wife shook his hand. Your wife met him. But you don't remember meeting him until 2002, when you just randomly hopped on his airplane to go flitting all around the world. Listen. Some of us are gullible, but bro, we are not that gullible. We are not that stupid. We are not that whatever you need us to be. We can see through all of it. The inconsistencies with how this man tells the truth or doesn't tell the truth really starts to add up and take away any shred of credibility that he might possibly have had. It's possible he has told the truth at some point in the 4 hours that he did this oversight committee thing. I don't believe it, though. I don't believe it at all. I think every single thing he said was a lie. Every single thing he did was a lie. And then that's where we are. And we'll be keeping an eye on everything, obviously, because there's a lot more going on between him and Hillary and more stuff that's coming out. But look, this is the stuff that I wanted to bring to your attention tonight, because I was like, Billy boy, you've either got to get better at lying or you need all of us to be way dumber.